Okay, how to set a working directory if I'm not working in an R project. So for a lot of folks, that's just an extra step that might be a little overwhelming at first, right? So let's say I have a data file, I have some code, and I want to be able to organize it easily so I can come back to it again in the future without fussing with a lot of file management. The way I do this, if I'm not working in a project, is to put all of my code and my data into the same folder. So what we'll do is we'll we'll go out, we'll set up a folder, we'll put some data in it, we'll put a little bit of code in it, and I'll show you how to set a working directory. If my screen's not shared, somebody get on a mic and tell me. Okay, so most of us when we're working on projects are going to be working out of folders, maybe on our desktop, who knows. I'll spare you the spiel this time around. And I'm just going to make an arbitrary folder here called my code. Maybe this is some really cool grass carp study, I don't know. And right now it's empty. So for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to go into the workshop folder and I'm going to grab the introductory code. Let's say I'm going to grab actually the physical data. That's a CSV. And I'm going to put that inside of my code folder here, my project, my folder. Now you see that's the only thing I've got in there. When I open up R when it's not in a project, it's going to be, yes, I want to close that now. When I open up R and I'm not working in a project, I'll have to close the current project just because that's my default setting. R by default is going to point to your documents folder on your computer. So if you didn't know anything you were doing, stick all your data in your documents, but that's really bad file management, so don't do that. Just pretend I didn't say it. Now, I've got data in a folder somewhere, right? And now here's the challenge of not working with a project is that I need to get R pointing in the right direction. So the first thing you're always going to do when you write R code is you're going to start a script. Here, I'm going to do, using the methods that we showed in the workshop and on the YouTube channel, I'm going to save a new script. See, it put me right out of my documents folder by default. I'm going to browse to my desktop where I've set up my code here and where physical is. And I'll call this code because this is going to be the code for my project, right? Now, again, if I go and look at where I'm seeing things right now, I've got a Zoom folder in my file pane. That's because I'm in documents, all right? That's the only reason. If I want to get to that folder that I made that has my test code in it, I can go to Session up on the top menu, Set Working Directory, and then I can either browse out and choose the directory by hand, just click around. I'll show that. Again, it opens by default in my documents where R is going to look for everything. Browse to my desktop. My code is the folder that I want for this one. And now I'm in that directory, I can hit open. And you'll see that R actually runs a little bit of code. It says set working directory to this path on Dan's computer. But you guys don't have that path on my computer, which is why I don't show you how to hard code it. You can do that. It's especially helpful for getting yourself started because it's hard to remember that you got to do this every time you open R unless you're working in a project. I think the better way to do that is to go, as long as you've got all your code and your data in the same folder or the same parent directory, you can go to Session, Set Working Directory, to source file location. That's telling R that you want to start out where your code is located, where this code file, code.r, is located. And the code here is going to be identical that it runs behind the scenes. And now you see I've got physical and I've got code here now. I'm ready to roll. I can go cgo equals read.csv. One of my children is singing. And I'm going to go physical.csv. And if I go down to my environment, it has worked. And now I have some data. Isn't that slick?